Right. Yes, it's been nuts. So this week we had a bobcat take one of our ducks. My kids. Girls, I'm live. Thank you. We had a bobcat. Well, let me rephrase that. I discovered we have a bobcat here on the property. I have seen it twice now. Actually chased it in the ATV to make sure that's what I was seeing. And then the next night, donkeys were going nuts in the evening as I was closing the animals up. And I decided not to get out of the ATV because I wasn't armed at the time. And then the evening after that at dusk, we discovered that a duck was gone. So whatever took this duck, you're talking 9 to 11 pound duck. So it was probably either a coyote or a bobcat, because a fox is not going to lift a 9 to 11 pound duck over a 4-foot fence. And then after that, we had that big storm, not storm, but we had the big freeze. Everyone had the freeze. I lost about 90% of my tender annuals, my beans, my peas, my tomatoes, all of them, pretty much all of my squash and pumpkins. I was very careful to go out and make sure everything had covers and all of that stuff. And you do everything that you think is the right thing. And then I did what I would have suggested anybody do, which is during the warmth of the day, take the covers off and let the plants get the sunlight and the warmth, and remember to put them back on. Well, everything was crazy that evening. I was trying to get things closed up, and I didn't close up my vegetables. I didn't cover them back up. And 90% of them, of the tender annuals, got killed in the freeze that we had. And the reason I forgot to cover them is because our new chicks, the Bilderfelders, had just gone on the field, and the storm prior to that day had blown the chicken tractor off and literally had my little birds out there with nothing over them. And so I was trying to repair that, and just all sorts of, it just went nutso. And then after that, we have new lambs, which is a lot of fun, who decided they were going to break out of the shed where we were keeping them isolated, because, you're supposed to isolate your animals for a couple of weeks. And all 6 of them broke out. They decided they didn't want to be there anymore. So I had to deal with that broken door. And then we had the ATV broke down, kept breaking down yesterday and today. So we had to get somebody to come out, and while they were lifting it to take it away, I realized another duck had died because a hay bale had fallen onto it and broken its neck. So this week has been crazy, right? And so what do you do when you try to do everything to do in terms of, how to manage your garden or your homestead or whatever, and things are just going nuts. And the first thing is to breathe. Remember that, mistakes are going to happen, flukes are going to happen. At the end of the day, with the gardening, you have to deal with the fact that, Mother Nature has her own way of doing things, and you can do everything that you think is the right thing. And it still is going, you can still go wrong. So Facebook says having trouble. Well, I'm not sure. I've got it live on this, and I'm not sure. Let me know if anybody else sees that. And so the first thing to do, the number one thing to do is breathe, and remember that it's really all a part of the journey. you're going to have mountains, you're going to have valleys, you're going to have these amazing times. I've got these amazing ducklings and goslings and the baby lambs, and everything is, everything is amazing and breathtakingly beautiful. And then you have these days where it's just bizarre, like crazy bizarre, going wrong. And you have to just focus on what went right. So, what went right? Well, my potatoes got really bad frost damage, but they're still here. I've got one, maybe two squash that survived. I've got 3 or 4 tomatoes that are probably going to die, but they might make it. Who knows? What else went right? The lambs are doing very well. They're loving the grass. Focus on the things that went really well on your garden. If you dwell on the things that went wrong, then you just kind of get sunk into that sort of depression and wanting to give up. Don't give up. The some disasters and some problems and some mishaps are going to happen. It's a part of gardening. It's a part of homesteading. I mean, truthfully, it's a part of life, and you've got to learn to breathe through those moments. And the next thing, of course, is to, the second thing you do is assess what went wrong, and take a step back and begin to make a plan, both short-term and long-term, in terms of how to correct what went wrong. So, for instance, with that freeze, what I should have done is just, obviously remember to go out and cover it. But also, had I used clear plastic, it wouldn't have been so bad because I wouldn't have had to uncover it and recover it. I could have just let the plastic stay on and they would have been protected. So that's something that, long term we'll try to change. The other thing is that it kind of helps you. It certainly helps me to feel better when I'm actually physically writing down a plan to make changes, and then I go out. Of course, the third thing is to get out there and actually act on those things. Don't sit and sulk. Get up, try it again, get you some more seeds planted indoors, if something's eaten them. And next time, maybe cover them, see if that helps. I started putting down the repels all around my garden, and that seems to have stopped the mouse that was eating my lettuce and kale. So, take steps to try to fix it. And if that doesn't work, try something else. But don't get stuck in the craziness and get depressed and say, well, I just give up. Well, in the situation that the state that we're now in the world, in terms of the fragility of the food system, it's, for me, not an option to give up, because I don't want to have to depend on going to a store for survival in terms of the basic necessities. And so for me, that's not an option. And, the thing is, a short-term plan, maybe maybe you do need to go to the store to get a few things. Make sure you have things that are canned or tinned, or that, if you lose power, you've got something to eat that's not going to be gone in the fridge. There's nothing wrong with dried beans. There's nothing wrong with canned soup, if that's what's available to you. So make sure you have something on hand, because those of us who are starting new gardens, is wonderful, and there's so many people doing it. But the reality is, you don't know what weather's going to throw you. So you need to be able to take a step back, make a plan, for those moments when nature's like, yeah, we're not doing that right now, and you got to start again. So those are the main things: breathe, assess, and start again. It's like riding a bike. You got to get up and get started again. So, that's all I really wanted to say today. Just don't quit. I know some of you were saying, something ate all of my plants, or, many of you may have gotten caught by the freeze. Don't give up. It's the ups and downs are a part of gardening, and it's just the way it is. It's not, I can't even tell you it's not going to happen anymore, because it's not true. It's just a part of it. But don't quit. It's, you know, you'll have those moments where you're like, oh, that was such a good cucumber. Oh, those are such good tomatoes. And I grew them. And you will really enjoy that peace of mind of having that in your own backyard. I don't think, if you all have questions for me, you know, if you got caught in the freeze or wherever, you can certainly shoot them to me, or somebody saying they're having trouble and they can't get in. So I don't know what's going on with that, but in any case, you can always message me, inbox me, ask me questions. Happy to answer them. As you can see, I've been gardening for 15 years and I still make mistakes, and I'm sure I will continue to. The question is, will I make new ones? I want to make new ones, not old ones. This was a new one. All right. Take care, guys. If you have any questions at all, please, 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 I'm happy to answer them. But yeah, that's really all I had to say for today. For those of you that are just joining, you know, it'll replay for you. But if you have any, if you have any questions, I'm here. All right. Well, if there's no questions, I'm going to say keep gardening. Don't quit. It is really a joy, especially when it's hard fought. So don't stop trying. All right. And don't forget to live life full out, as always. Take care.